Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks once again, RA, for this opportunity. I'm Arun, Director Enterprise Sales at C204 India. And the topic I'm going to cover today is support the retail supply chain health by deploying digital tools and technologies. C204 is collaborative cash flow optimization. We are a global tech company running working capital marketplace, offering solutions around account payable and account receivables of the corporates. In the marketplace model, we match the account payable and account receivables of various corporates and thereby deliver value to both the trading partners, which is the buyer and the seller. And over the 12 years of the experience, what C204 has been doing, we were able to build a strong network of about 2 million unique points where a supplier and a buyer meets, as you can see from the graph. And over these years, we have partnered with more than 250 large corporates across the globe. And we have been working with close to 1 million supply chain partners associated with these large corporates. Specific to India, we work with slightly more than 120 large corporates across multiple sectors. And associated with them are close to 2 lakh supply chain partners for these large corporates. Specific to the retail sector, these are some of the marquee names we have been associated with over these years across the globe, across US, Europe, and of course, Asia, including India. As can be seen, these leaders come across multiple categories within the retail sector, right from apparel, clothing, food and grocery, footwear, jewelry, consumer durables, etc., etc. And what we have seen specific to the Indian market is, when it comes to the retail industry, compared to the traditional manufacturing industries, the financing option or the cost of financing available for the supply chains which are part of the retail industry are slightly more challenging. There are multiple reasons which are unique to this particular industry we will cover later in the presentation. And add to it, as we all know about the pandemic which happened, followed by the lockdown, etc., etc. And while many of the categories were severely impacted, food and grocery did relatively better, and some of the other categories, including the apparel, clothing, bit of jewelry, started picking up from the festive season. While it's not still back to the older days, but we are still seeing some positive signs over the last 4-5 months. What I want to share here is some of the emerging trends, what we have been seeing, working with a lot of these corporates running global scalable programs across these corporates and the supply chain partners. One unique thing what we have seen in the retail supply chain is the dynamic cash flow need. What we have observed is the seasonality of the business is quite pronounced in this sector, and there are also a need for inventory buildup, and this leading to longer working capital cycle compared to other traditional industries. What it means is the cash flow needs are quite dynamic. It can be like going up and down quite frequently for the supplier at various points of time. And even within a same category of the suppliers, the cash flow needs could be different for different suppliers, which are quite unique to his business situations and his unique needs. But in terms of the financing, when he is resorting to the traditional financing options, what he is having, he is not able to manage this dynamic cash flow what we have. So what we have seen is corporates deploying disruptive technologies to kind of ensure the supply chain health of the supply chain partners, so that the suppliers doesn't go out of cash or they are able to manage their business on a regular basis. What it also entails is one of the other key trends what we have seen when it comes to the supplier is that he is actually looking for a single source of capital where he can go tap the liquidity on demand whenever there is a cash flow need, and then just go about doing his business without getting into the operational hassle of maybe a documentation or negotiating, etc., etc. What it also means is that he is seeking more empowerment in terms of how he runs the business. And the interesting part is when we talk about a supplier in a retail, he is probably not only associated with the retail industry, probably he could be a supplier to other industries as well. Like for example, a logistics supplier could be working with multiple manufacturing companies. A packaging supplier or a service supplier or even a marketing or an IT vendor could be working with multiple other sectors outside of retail. And of course, you have the large key raw material suppliers who are unique to the retail sector. But even then, they could be working with multiple other corporates and not associated with just one. So his needs are quite dynamic in terms of these diverse corporate buyers he's working with. So he is always looking for a single source of capital and not wanting to go for a separate channel or a protocol for each and every industry or a buyer. And corporates have understood this, and one of the heartening trends what we are seeing in the last few years, where there are a lot of talks on this ESG initiatives, which is this environmental, social, and governance initiatives by the corporates, is corporates see as an extension of their ESG or a sustainable or a CSR initiative to offer a lot of programs to manage the financial health of the supply chain. So there are multiple ways in which various corporates work on this. Some of the ways are maybe creating a specific ESG fund and then utilizing the funds to kind of deploy into the supply chain for the liquidity management. The other option is to run a preferred rate program to their vulnerable categories of suppliers, say MSME, SME, or certain other suppliers whom they feel need support, especially coming out of this crisis. So these are some of the emerging trends and increasing collaboration what we are seeing between the corporate buyers and the supply chain partners in ensuring the financial health of the suppliers so that it is overall beneficial to the entire retail industry ecosystem.